Good afternoon, everyone. It is June the 17th, 2025. Before I put up the next two videos, the first one, well, I've been talking about my dog a lot, service dogs. I wanted to do a segment on the service dogs, and as well as the therapy dogs and some of the other things that the other dogs do for us as well. And the first video I'm going to put up would be on the therapy dogs, which the police department now has just got their third therapy dog, which I've talked about that before. And the second video I'm going to put up is on Heidi, my service dog, and a training session I did with her that the CTV News actually taped and broadcast as well to the public. So that's a little pleasure, and Heidi did very well, mind you. And so I want to talk about these various tasks and dogs and things that these different animals do, and the descriptions of what each type of dog does for different things. So a therapy dog, for example, is a dog that is trained to provide affection, comfort, and support to people, often in settings like hospitals, retirement homes, schools, and disaster areas, to improve their physical, social, emotional, and cognitive function. Unlike service dogs, are not trained to perform specific tasks for an individual with a disability, but rather interact with various people to offer emotional support and companionship. Now, this is where the service dogs, as the police will say, that this is why they're doing it when they're interviewing victims, because they're ideal for this function as well, because it's very, very difficult on people when they are traumatized to the point and they're trying to explain just how they got victimized and what happened to them. So it's nice to have a dog at your side, a very calm dog, where you can pat the dog, and the dog is there for comfort. And this is one of the reasons why I've had Heidi certified as a therapy dog too. And she's capable of being both a therapy dog and a service dog. People don't quite understand, because usually you train your dog for one thing or another thing. But Heidi, she's a very highly intelligent German Shepherd, and she senses things about people that not all dogs can sense. But there are some exceptional dogs that have that ability. And the trainers are very, very pleased with her, because she is one of those dogs that has that ability to sense things. And I'm very happy to have her, for sure, because she certainly senses what's around me. Like at that incident at the teller machine, she didn't get vicious or violent or wanting to bite. She just stood there and looked at that guy, looked him, and stared at him like I was staring at him, and that made him back off. So highly training these dogs is very important. And I know people have said, well, okay, and I've had one person particularly on my YouTube channel, if you follow my YouTube channel, and some of the comments I get that are pretty upset that I think my dog is absolutely perfect. Well, in the video I'm going to show you on the training, I've done this quite a few times with her, not to get her necessarily perfect, but up to the best that she can be, and to make sure that I'm on par as well. And this is going on and off the buses, that you'll note this as you see the video. And she was in a training session with other service dogs as well that were in training. So I'll be putting that up after. But this is also the description of a service dog. A service dog has been individually trained to perform tasks that mitigate the effects of a person's disability. These tasks must be directly related to the individual's disability, and the dog is considered a working animal and not a pet. Now, people have says, and a lot of people understand, when you see a working dog, you're not supposed to go up and pat them. You're supposed to let them do their own thing. But it's very important, and as I read through this, you'll understand better that this is up to the individual or the handler. You need to ask the handler if you can pet the dog at all. And oftentimes, I will say yes. I feel it's okay, it's appropriate at that particular moment, because she has training both as a therapy dog, and now I'm getting her slowly certified as my service dog as well. And she's very much up to the task, and when you talk about tasks, it's going to be like, because of my arthritis and my mobility issues, that's what she helps me with. Getting on and off the bus, as you will see. Trying to get a seat on the bus, how she has to stay in a certain way and behave, and either stay down, lie down, sit up, or stay quiet, and not bother anybody else around her. And if there's other dogs or other service dogs, for example, on the bus, then she has to ignore them. So being perfect means there's a lot of training to try and get them to the best that your dog's ability, and certainly my own ability, because not only when you go into training with your dog, it's because you can train your own dog, which is I'm doing, but a professional person can train your dog for you if you want to do it that way. But I prefer to work with the dog because there's a great deal of bonding that goes on between the dog and myself. So this is just one of the things for my mobility issues, and later on I'm going to talk about the dogs that for diabetics like myself, to be able to alert me. So I'm going to be doing a section on those dogs as well. So you get just a variety here of what's going on with the dogs. And for example, with my arthritis, even just bending down, sometimes the floor could be a million miles away because I just cannot bend because the arthritis. I've got a disintegrating disc in my back. So I've got these physical problems. I'm not in a wheelchair yet, but there are people in wheelchairs as well who have to get them to perform tasks, like the dog can open a fridge for them with a tie to the fridge. That's just an example. In my case, trying to bend to the floor is a problem. So let's say, for example, I drop my keys. Heidi would be able to pick up my keys for me and hand me my keys. It's the everyday things, the little things that she can do in my life as a senior that leaves me independent and living at home. So I'm going to go on to the next one. This is another one that you often see, is the emotional support dog. An emotional support dog, or ESA, is a companion animal that provides comfort and support to individuals with mental or emotional disabilities. Unlike service dogs, ESA are not trained to perform specific tasks related to a disability, but offer therapeutic benefits through their presence and companionship. They can help alleviate symptoms of conditions like anxiety, depression, and PTSD. Here's a more detailed explanation. The primary role of an ESA is to offer emotional support and companionship, which can be crucial for individuals struggling with mental health challenges. Not trained for tasks, unlike service dogs, ESAs are not trained to perform specific tasks to mitigate a disability. And it's more for a mental health condition. ESAs are often prescribed for individuals with diagnosed mental health conditions such as anxiety, PTSD, or other conditions that cause emotional stress. And this I find when I talk about the homeless, and I talk about the therapy that they need to go through. These dogs, I believe, are one way of helping these mentally ill people through their disabilities, where the therapist should have one of these trained dogs with them, because I feel that this will make it easier for people to talk about their problems. And it's amazing what they can do, because the dogs help in so many ways, just being there for the comfort in that as well. So I agree with the police department certainly having the therapy dogs. And I met one of their therapy dogs there at one of the functions that we were having, one of our sort of out kind of a picnic type of thing that we have, that we get together in the community here. And it was nice to see the therapy dog as well, and have a chance to talk to the therapy dog handler. So, and then the documentation. To qualify for an ESA, a person typically needs a letter from a licensed medical health professional documenting the need for the animal's support. Housing and travel. ESAs may be protected under the Fair Housing Act, allowing individuals to live with their ESA even in pet-free housing. They may also be allowed to travel with their owners on airplanes, but this is subject to specific regulations, where a service dog has a totally different regulation. We can go anywhere with the doctor's note as well. So Heidi's been trained on the bus, as I said. You'll see that shortly. She's been trained with the paramedics, so that this is one of the things that's really good, is that she's got to sniff the stretcher. She's got to see me put on a stretcher in case there was an emergency and I was on the street and the paramedics had to pick me up, of course. And then she had to understand when she's allowed in the ambulance with me, but she's got to understand that because she's such a big dog, some of the small dogs could just lie on the stretcher with the handler, but Heidi has to sit beside the paramedic and get strapped in with the belt. So if the ambulance has to stop in a hurry, she's not going to go flying either. So this is the type of things. It's a very intensive training that you have to go through for the dogs. And then the guide dogs, that's another one, another big one. Seeing eye dogs, also known as the guide dogs, are specifically trained that assist individuals who are blind or visually impaired. They provide mobility assistance, enabling their handlers to navigate safely and independently. The term seeing eye dog is often used as a general term, but it specifically refers to dogs trained by the Seeing Eye organization. Training and responsibilities. Specialized training. Guide dogs undergo extensive training to learn how to navigate obstacles, avoid hazards, and disobey commands that would put their handlers in danger. And that's why they often have a do not pet on them and a sign on their harness. Well, if the dog has that, that's a good one. Do not pet for sure. Possibly don't even ask the person, because it may be something very hidden, problem that you do not want to distract the dog at all. And this is why people need to come up, when they come up to me, I appreciate when people ask me to pat Heidi, because she has her own protocol. I have no problem. She sits, she knows how to do how do you do and high five for them. And the kids really enjoy that. But it's good because I don't mind the kids patting her either, because then it gives me a chance to talk about the service dogs and the different types of dogs and what they need to do in the protocol. That if you allow, if the handler allows you to pat the dog, then what you do is you show the back of your hand and let them sniff the back of your hand, and then you very gently go underneath. When they accept you, you go underneath their chin and you rub their chin. It's not always on the top of the head, but fortunately I'm lucky that Heidi is very tolerant of that, because I have particularly my seniors to get underneath the chin, they just go right for the pat on the head. So she's very good that way, very tolerant in that way. Yeah, because and then they provide mobility assistance. They help their handlers with tasks like crossing streets, finding doors, navigating busy environments. And they're certainly not pets. While they are beloved companions, guide dogs are working animals and should not be distracted while they are working. Etiquette and respect. Avoid distractions. Do not pet, feed, or talk to a guide dog while it's working, as this can be distracting and unsafe. So they're pretty much the one that you don't want to touch, because they have so many things. They have to keep their owner safe, because the owner cannot see where they're going. So it would be just terrible if they're walking along and the owner just walked straight into a manhole or something, because there wasn't a thing around it to show it was there, or fall. Like I said, anything could happen. So because the dog is trained automatically, oops, there's a hole there, and the dog will just take the owner around and make sure that the owner's safe, and on their way they go. And the other thing is, it's called respect the harness. The harness is the dog's working tool, and it's important to respect it. Ask before. If you want to interact with a guide dog, ask the handler first. Now this is where I find I talk to the handlers with the blind dogs when I'm on with my dog on the bus. This is a good place if you want to pat them, because most often they will. They're safely in their seat. And it's a nice way, and you get talking about the dogs. And, I talk about my service dog, and the handler loves it, the other handler, because there's a conversation about our dogs, and it's a great way to communicate and socialize with other people that have more trouble socializing as well. And then there's also a federal law that the guide dogs are protected by federal law, and it is illegal to interfere with their work. And this is something that's partially true as well with the service dogs. They have a job to do too, so it's illegal in a sense to interfere with their work too, unless you ask. And I get so many people that run up, or I'm just walking down the street, and all of a sudden somebody is going by me, and they'll, oh, pat the dog. Forget it, you know. Fortunately, I'm very fortunate that Heidi is as good as she is, and she will tolerate things, but this may distract another dog. You might even find yourself getting bitten because you might startle a dog who is working, making sure, for example, a guide dog, making sure that the person is getting down the street properly, and you've just distracted them, and maybe that all of a sudden the poor dog, distracted, might bolt or push the poor person right off the curb, which would not be good. So it's not a good idea when you see it in certain circumstances. But if they're sitting somewhere, then that's not so bad to ask them if you want to pat the dog. And then public access. Guide dog teams have the right to access public places, including transportation and businesses. And then, of course, they have certification. Guide dogs and service dog teams with valid identification are often recognized across different regions and countries. And, of course, being now Heidi, as well as a service dog, is allowed in public places. Between the service dog and the guide dogs, those are the two that are mainly allowed in most public places. Some of the other dogs are not. But you have to have the doctor's note and the proper certification from a certified trainer that the dog has been properly trained. And, okay, I just said that, okay. And other important facts, not AGDs. Guide dogs are not like GPS devices. They rely on their handler's knowledge of the destination and their own judgment to navigate hazards. And that's what I kind of explained, that they have to be able to navigate it, or if you distract them, you don't want the poor person pushed off the curb, for an example. And that's why I gave that extra example. And then there's decision making. Guide dogs are trained to make decisions about safety, such as whether it's safe to cross the street. And then when they go into retirement, guide dogs typically retire between the age of 8 and 10, but some may retire earlier due to health issues. And then there's another one, and then the other one I can talk about is the diabetic alert dogs. Yes, dogs can be trained to detect diabetes by alerting their owners to changes in blood sugar levels. These dogs, often called diabetic alert dogs, are trained to recognize specific scents associated with either high or low blood sugar. How diabetic alert dogs work? Scent detection. DADs are trained to detect subtle changes in the scent of a person's breath or sweat that correlate with fluctuations of blood sugar levels. And then they have alerting behavior. Once they detect the scent, they alert their owners through various behaviors like pawing, licking, barking, or fetching a blood glucose monitor. Monitoring. They can also monitor their owners while they sleep and wake them up if they detect a problem. Yes, and then training DADs. And then they have a sample collection. Trainer collects scent samples from diabetic individuals when their blood sugar is high or low. Conditioned response. The dogs are trained to associate these scents with a reward, creating a conditional response to alert the specific scents associated with blood sugar changes. And then there's a part of it is continuous monitoring. DADs can be trained to monitor their owners regularly, providing an extra level of safety and support. But it's certainly an important consideration. It's not a replacement for monitoring, which, because I'm diabetic, that's one of the things that she's going to be trained for. And I do regularly monitor my blood sugar levels. And then while the DADs can be a valuable tool, they are not a replacement for regular blood glucose monitoring with a monitor. Individual variation. Dogs can have varying levels of success in delivering and alerting to blood sugar changes, and not all dogs are suited for this type of training. And personal training is essential training for developing reliable and consistent alerting behaviors. And then we have other types of dogs for seizure alerts dogs, and that's people who have seizures, and the dog can help them if they have a seizure. So if you want to, there's more I could go on, but if you want, look up on Google. All this information is on Google. and it's a wonderful thing to look up. And I just believe that definitely people the more education people have about things, that is good. So, and then of course, Heidi this weekend was with me, and it was there was a monument put up in the park, and everyone in the community went, and Heidi was there, and part of her training is that she has to stay for long periods of time, and so it was like an hour and a half, and she gets a little bit fussy after so long, and then it's quieting her down, or she sees a dog go by, because it's also part of a dog park, so she has to ignore them as well. So people were so terribly impressed with Heidi, the way I handled her, and the behavior, how well behaved she was. At the later, as we went to the reception after it, people were coming up, and some of the seniors came up, and Heidi and I got invited this coming fall to do a session to be a speaker at one of their meetings with Heidi, to talk about the dogs and what they do and that. And so that was a really interesting thing, and that's how I can help people in the community, and that's what I said. Strong, as my grandfather always said, strong communities make a strong country, and this is one way we can work together. And as I said, some of the seniors should consider actually maybe doing the therapy dogs, particularly because the therapy dogs, it's a much easier, it's just the basic obedience training that you have to take for that, which most people, if a pet, you get that basic obedience training as well. So that's just a little bit of extra, but it's not that much. Whereas doing a service dog, right now I'm working on the 37 things that she absolutely has to do to get her certification, and that's a lot more with more intensive obedience training for going through doors, up elevators. She has, oh my goodness, how she goes through the door, if she goes through with me properly, if she can get in and out of a car properly. There's much to do. So right now I'm working on that. It's not that she's perfect, but I'm working on it, and it's not only training the dog, it's training the handler as well, me. So for me, it's a wonderful experience, me training my own dog, and she loves it, I love it, and it's a great outing. It gets us together, and she's happy and I'm happy. So I have a very happy life now with her and me. So it's onward and upward with Heidi in the future for me, and I hope I have her for still a number of years. Well, she just turned 5 now, and she's learning very quickly, and that's the advantage of, because I wanted a sturdy working dog, and I got that in the German Shepherd. And she's very smart, picks up things very, very quickly. She's quite an active dog when she wants to be, but she's also very, very gentle, and very, when I'm not able to do things, she senses it, and she's just quiet around the house, or she plays a bit with the 2 cats, or she plays with her toys. She's got her own toy box, huge toy box, mind you. It used to be bad when I thought I had toddlers, and I was tripping over the toddlers' toys. Now I'm tripping over the dog's toys once in a while. So I know I'm getting kind of long, but I'm going to put up those other 2 videos as well, so you can get a chance to see what some of the other experts are saying as well. So I'm going to leave it there, and everyone, have a great day. Be safe, watch your surroundings, and we'll talk again soon. And bye-bye.